Welcome back to Rackspace Solve London. Here once again, John Ingates.
So welcome back. Hope you had a good, quick break there. Our next presenter that's coming to the stage is all about serving entrepreneurs. Exact is a Dutch company that's solving the challenge of migrating its 200,000 business customers onto a new platform, and they're using the Rackspace Managed Cloud. And here's a video for more on Exact.
Exact is a Dutch company. We build software for small and medium-sized businesses. Our customers trust us with their data, and they trust us to make it available to them 24/7. And we needed to do a technology refresh of our existing platform. Together with Rackspace, we built a new design that would support our current rapid growth. We migrated 200,000 businesses onto the new platform without any unplanned downtime. So that's quite an accomplishment, I'd say.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Wilco Noordermeer from Exact.
Thanks, John. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Wilco Noordermeer. I'm the Infrastructure and Operations Manager for Exact Online. I'll be talking to you a little bit about some of the recent projects that we've been managed to complete together with Rackspace. And let's first start to take a quick look at what we do at Exact. Exact is a Dutch company, as you just saw in the video. We've been building business software since 1984. And in 2005, we launched a platform called Exact Online. Exact Online currently serves over 200,000 companies in 6 countries. And it's growing very, very fast. We currently are growing at a rate of about 40 to 50% year on year, and we really need an infrastructure that can help us to support that growth. We've been a long-term customer with Rackspace. For the majority of the time that the platform has been online, we have been with Rackspace. So let's take a look at my team. Like I said, infrastructure and operations. My team is a small team, 7 engineers at the moment, which is not very large to support such a large customer base. Closely knit team of engineers, and it's our aim to deliver a secure, available and performant platform to our customers and our business. Now, because we are such a small team, and if you can imagine a platform like this doesn't really well, you need a lot of specialists in a team like this, but we don't have specialists on all the components that make up the infrastructure of our platform, because that is what Rackspace provides to us. We build the application, we run the application, we monitor the application, but it is Rackspace who provides us with the platform underneath and all the specialists around the components that make up this infrastructure. So anything for storage, compute, network, load balancers, firewalls, well, everything that you can think of, Rackspace has the specialists that help us to maintain this platform 24/7, 365 days a year. So what was our challenge? Well, like I said, we're growing really fast, 40 to 50% per year. Once you start hitting these numbers, 200,000 businesses on our platform since February of this year. Once you start hitting these numbers, growth becomes really exponential, and you have to have a platform to be able to support that growth. And our existing platform was really starting to burst at the seams. Storage components were running out, starting to run out. We had all sorts of difficulties which really required a technology refresh. And also, from a more business perspective, to be able to support the growth, we have the ambition to move into different countries. We currently operate in 6 countries, 4 out of which are run on the infrastructure with Rackspace here in London. And to be able to support that growth going forward, we really needed to do a rethink of what we had. So And there were a couple of other things that we had to do during this migration, or at least the build of this new platform. Reduce or increase resiliency, making sure that we could stay online and available to our customers at all the times. And on top of that, try and do it with as little downtime as possible, so limit the amount of migration events. So that was quite a hard thing to do, because if you have a platform on the one hand that is growing this fast and you need to migrate onto a new platform, it's quite a challenge. So if we look at what the old environment looks like, or looked like, I should say, it was a managed private cloud environment with Rackspace here in London. It was a single site, and we had a disaster recovery set up in Amsterdam, and that was also reaching its limits with regard to its capabilities. We were pushing so much data over the wire that it was becoming very difficult to maintain, and it was going to be very costly to upgrade that whilst not decreasing the complexity of that setup. So we really wanted to integrate that into our Rackspace setup. So the flexibility was starting to become a problem, and we also needed to do a technology refresh of the existing platform. Like I said, some storage components needed to be upgraded. We wanted to migrate from server versions to newer versions. So there were all sorts of reasons why we wanted to upgrade the new environment, on top of the fact that it wouldn't support our growth for much longer. So what we did was we built a new, or first we designed a new setup, a dual data center with Rackspace here in London. We wanted to become active, serve our customers from 2 sites at the same time. And that would help us to increase our resiliency. And it would also allow us to do maintenance whilst we could put customers into a single data center, do maintenance on the other data center, and put them back into the pool at the same time. So it was going to have also a lot of business improvements for us once we would have that in place. And the other thing is that we wanted to include a number of services from Akamai. First of all, we wanted to use that traffic management to be able to divert the traffic into both data centers at the internet level, and on top of that, use the services like CDN to speed up the site and experience for our customers. DDoS protection and web application firewall, also extra services that we could use to start putting in a better performance to our customers. So it's all very nice to have a design, but when you have a platform and you need to migrate onto something new, I don't know how many of you are in IT operations, but migrations are usually difficult and painful. So it's always really a thing to find a balance between risk, speed, and cost. Of course, you can try and mitigate all the risks, technological risks that there are in such a migration, but it will come at the cost of agility, and it will probably also cost you a lot of money. So you have to find a way to strike a balance and do it in such a way that you can do it at the right level. So what we did was we found a way to do just-in-time delivery of just enough infrastructure to be able to migrate workloads onto the new platform. And this is how we did it. We first built a small version of the design that was completed by the end of last year. We tested it, we verified it, we ran load tests against it, and of course there will always be some findings that you have to implement back into the design. That's what we did. We then built out the infrastructure to capacity large enough to receive the first workloads. And the first workload that we selected was the disaster recovery setup from Amsterdam, because that was a very important workload, but we could do it without actually impacting our customers. So we selected that, migrated that onto the new platform. After that, we looked at the countries. We have 4 countries running on the platform here in London. Each of them runs on a separate environment, so we could take them as a separate workload, migrate them into the new platform one at a time. And we were able to do that without any downtime, simply by changing a DNS record, which was quite an achievement. We then could start decommissioning the old infrastructure. And finally, we had to do a storage migration, which was a large chunk of work that we actually managed to complete about 2 weeks ago. So how did we do? Well, I'm very pleased to say that we really had a flawless transition onto this new platform, and we went from design to build to migration in about 8 to 9 months. So for a platform with 200,000 businesses on it who rely on us for their daily business operations, that's quite an achievement. But there will always be some things that we would do differently if I were to do it again. First of all, I think the thing that we did very well was to look at our environment and try and find workloads that are sizable, but that you can separate and migrate onto the new platform as a separate migration step. That worked very well for us. One of the things that did catch up with us a little bit was that if you're growing this fast, you really have to find a way to keep feeding the information that's coming out of your existing platform into the design for your new platform. For instance, we found that we were growing in storage at a much faster rate than we had previously thought we would, and that really meant that we had to redesign, scramble to fit the new design into the new platform. So it really, we should have done better there. So keep an eye on what's going on and make sure that you feed that information back into your project. And the other thing is that you really should not assume anything and measure everything. We had some issues where we were working with averages on the number of connections, on speed of certain connections between systems. And in a system like this, milliseconds really can make a difference, and especially if you are pushing traffic over the wire across 2 data centers. And it certainly turns out that it is not just slower than you expected, well, then you have something to work, well, some extra work, and we should have really done a little bit more work in doing more measuring in front of the project rather than after we migrated. And another big thing for us was that we should have decoupled more dependencies on other projects and other teams. If you're doing an infrastructure project and you are waiting for delivery from another team for some software to be delivered, maybe to build on top of that, it's always going to be difficult, especially to deliver just-in-time infrastructure. So decouple and find ways to do that and talk to the other teams. So that's the other very important thing about doing a large infrastructure project like this. Inform the other teams of what you're doing and make sure that you know what they are doing. And it sounds very simple, and it also is one of the key pillars, of course, of DevOps. And it sounds very simple, but it really isn't. I mean, we had a single project for software development that's been right underneath our noses for about 1.5 years, where they were trying to put a new caching layer into the application. And we were discussing this project in bi-weekly meetings, cross-functional meetings. Everybody was there in the room, but nobody ever asked the question, could this potentially influence the dual data center project, or is this actually going to work in this new setup? And it didn't. And we had to scramble to be able to fit it in. And this is a case where Rackspace really made the difference. Because when we found this out, which was already quite late into the project, we had a whiteboarding session with the Rackspace people. They flew out from London to our office in Delft, went into a room. Software developers, infrastructure people, Rackspace people sat in a room for a whole day, did a design, thought, well, maybe this could work, We did it, and we managed to actually solve this problem with a whiteboarding session in a day, executed in about 2 to 3 weeks, including the software changes, and we literally saved the timelines on this project. But it could have gone differently, and it could have been avoided. So if I look at what really made the difference for us here in this project with Rackspace, it's two things. It's a teamwork, but it's also we have Rackspace who look after us in running our environment, which is growing fast, and we had the professional services team who were running the project to do the migration, and that worked really well for us. So in the end, we did a migration with no customer complaints, no downtime, and we were on time and on budget. So it doesn't sound like many of the IT projects that I read about in the papers. So what's next for us? We'll be upgrading our database backend to move even further to always-on application. We will be moving more workloads into the public cloud. We've set ourselves up not only for growth, but also for the options to move workloads into public cloud where and when we can. It's our ambition to deliver faster. We try and release every day our software, but we've set ourselves up to do it even faster now. And we are currently working with Rackspace to start looking at using some of their DevOps automation services to help us grow going forward. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you'd like to talk to me, feel free to come up to me, and love to talk to you a little bit more about what we did. Thank you.